So we're jumping into game one of the CSL between Purdue versus the University of North Texas. And loading. So first off, we're looking at the purple Protoss player, and he'll be playing for the University of North Texas as TropicalBob, spawning in the 9 o'clock position.
And on the other side, we have the yellow Protoss player as Mokomi representing for Purdue University.
Alright. So make sure I open up this.
That is going to be MLG Shattered Temple. But yeah, so I think if we can get a quick camera zoom in on the different places where the Zerg can probably take his likely third expansions.
Okay. So what we were talking about before is this top view and this well, I guess we're talking about the Zerg. So either the Zerg is going to take this expansion by taking out these rocks with early Zerglings, or if he feels like he has map control, he might take out the rocks here immediately and take the gold.
And it actually looks like Mokomi decided to go for the gateway expand that I was talking about before. So we can see that pylon is at the top of the ramp.
Well, we don't know if it's a gateway expand just yet, but at least doing the gateway first.
Gateway first. That's true. This could always be the 4-gate, guys.
A lot of information, but with TropicalBob, his Overlord scouted this bottom base, and on MLG Shattered Temple, you can only spawn in far away, like not close positions. So either in cross positions, which they are at now, or close air.
Right. And both of their workers are going to get in at around the same time, and it looks like Mokomi's going to scout the pool that's already about a little bit more than halfway built. Going to try to deny a little bit of mining with that probe, and going to head over to the expansion to try and block it.
Yeah, and it's very common to do this. He might even throw down a pylon just to delay it a little bit more, since Zerg players want to get that hatchery down around 20 supply if they go pool first. So, but it looks like there's a little zoning down, and note he wasn't able to delay it anymore.
Yeah, beautiful timing on the placing down that hatchery. And actually, Mokomi doing a good job getting the probe away, and it's going to regenerate his shields and just actually go right back in to make sure. I think he's actually going to be scouting for the gas timing.
Yeah, and if a gas has already been down and one just started, so he knows that speedlings are going to be a little bit delayed, and even a roach play will be delayed. Chronoing out actually for early aggression. This first Zealot comes out and the Stalker is already eating up some of that Chrono boost, so we're going to see a little bit of early aggression here.
Oh, and this is actually going to be really bad timing for TropicalBob, as the Zealot's going to get the Zone Line Tower right at the same time as the Surgeon.
Oh, but Mokomi's on a just move command. Yeah, he was just straight on. Go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead. Okay, but the Zealot actually doing quite a bit of damage to TropicalBob's Zergling, but you know, it does take 3 hits before the Protoss player gets +1 to kill a Zergling, so that Zergling does survive. And now, it looks like the Zealot might get picked off by these 2 Zerglings in between, but the Zealot is actually doing a lot of damage, picking off a lot of the Zerglings. Meanwhile, the Stalker is also doing a lot of damage to the Queen. If he can pick that off, that'd actually be a huge win for Mokomi, as that will delay a lot of the larva injections.
Yeah, and we have 6 more Zerglings in production right now to try to hold off this early aggression, and the Queen. Oh, is it going to get away?
It's running away. Oh! I think he actually did try and lay down that tree tumor right before it died.
It didn't have enough energy injected before then.
Okay.
And Mokomi during this time has dropped down that Nexus and has now just started his 2nd and 3rd gate. So it was that gate fast expand. And now the Stalker's running through its life, and luckily these aren't speedlings, or they'd be slowly chipping him away. But TropicalBob will have now the scouting information that, oh, no, he didn't poke in enough. He just saw the pylon go down. So he doesn't know if it was a 3-gate expand or if it was a gate expand build. I'm actually surprised at that.
Yeah, I think it's also important to note, though, that he does have that Overlord just a little bit to the right and below Mokomi's natural. So Just if he wants to make sure, he can always poke in, and he is actually about to poke in and make sure that there is an expansion going down. I think he just didn't want to try and overcommit.
And there's actually a lot of Zerglings that are being produced now. It looked like 12, and a lot of them are streaming across the map. Piling up. We have a total count of 28 Zerglings out on the field. So he cut a lot of drone production for this to happen.
Yeah, TropicalBob might be a little bit feeling like he has to put on a lot of pressure after losing that game. This is actually a really scary number of Zerglings.
Oh, and there we have it. We have Speedlings just finally done, but force fields go down before the Speedlings are able to run up the natural.
It looks like Mokomi is a little bit short on force fields. He actually doesn't have enough energy for any force fields right now, so...
Well, putting in a few more Zealots.
Like that, he's going to be able to pick off some of the sentries and even a couple of Zealots, but no, that force field just barely holding off. Mokomi survives with just one sentry, having just warped in another sentry.
Well, and it really was those 3 Zealots that really made sure that to hold that off. And Mokomi responds almost immediately by throwing down a cannon for a little added defense. And now TropicalBob is deciding that he has map control and is targeting the gold, but oh, he may be even taking this kind of risky third, what you were talking about pre-game. And there we have it down.
I'm not sure how much I like that decision right now, as, you know, Mokomi, he did lose quite a few of his sentries, but, you know, he's not out in the water yet. He does still have quite a few more sentries he did warp in. He's actually even warping a few more. So if Mokomi does end up scouting this out, he might be able to put on some pressure.
And what we have right now, just looking at the unit tabs, and I was zooming in on the Roach Warren, but he also has 2 evolution chambers and getting a 3rd. So right now, TropicalBob is doing a huge power-up play. So if Mokomi puts on any aggression very shortly, he should be able to find a really nice timing.
Yeah, but I think it's really important to note that Mokomi is sitting pretty much in the dark. If you actually look at his vision, he really just doesn't have any way of getting a solid scout out. He is starting to research hallucination, but I'm not sure if that's actually going to finish in time for him to really put on the kind of pressure that he's going to need to do if TropicalBob does decide to take that really fast forward.
And we very well will see this, but we do have now a total of just 5 gateways. So Mokomi doesn't look like he's going to put on any early aggression just yet. And we have Roaches now streaming across the map, scuttling as fast as they can without their speed upgrade.
Oh yeah, do we actually have that on? No, it doesn't look like we have the speed upgrade on the way. So I don't think Mokomi will actually have too many issues holding this off. He has a lot of sentries. They are starting to finally build up that energy, and along with having that forge there in the cannon, I think he'll be able to deal with this just fine.
But the Roaches have now started to pick off at the front. Some sentries actually trapping the Roaches, and now the Zerglings rush in, and Force Field cuts it off very nicely, and these Roaches cannot escape.
And even better, actually, the Roaches are not able to even target down the sentries, as they aren't close enough. They do manage to pick off the gateway. That is going to make it a little bit harder for Mokomi to hold. But oh my god, Mokomi's getting so many kills with these great force fields.
And with all this happening, 22 more Lings are coming down into production. So looks like TropicalBob is trying all of
And so many sentries, and actually these Zerglings are doing so much damage. Mokomi actually out of force fields at this point. And the Zerglings are going to run rampant in the probe line. TropicalBob might be able to rack up a lot of kills if he actually goes for the pros, but no, looks like he's just going to have to try and pick off some more of the army.
And we have a few Immortals that are in production, a few more cannons that are being built to try to hold off this essentially 3-base Roach Ling all-in.
Oh, but I absolutely love this play by TropicalBob. At the exact same time that all this crazy pressure is going on, TropicalBob is actually taking this gold expansion. That's such a great idea right now. He's going to be so safe. Mokomi's going to be pinned back in his base because of all these Zerglings and Roaches putting on all this pressure. I think this is a great play from TropicalBob. What do you think?
It's a very risky indeed. As long as Mokomi can stabilize his position, TropicalBob may be in some trouble, because even though he has his 3rd, he hasn't droned a single drone yet. All his units are essentially on the field as his army value. He's actually behind in drone count.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, the drone count is 49. Now a lot of drones just created, but to take the lead. But during all that high aggression, TropicalBob was actually behind with his drone production.
It looks like Mokomi is wanting to maybe open up the pathway to take his third at some point soon. But, you know, TropicalBob is going to do another poke over here. I don't think it's going to be too successful, and that's right. TropicalBob sees that he doesn't really want to get involved in that and backs off for a little bit, but...
yeah, just... It looks like TropicalBob is just trying to bait out a few force fields, just poking to force Mokomi to make units rather than just straight teching into Colossus, which we have our first Colossus about a quarter of the way complete right now.
And I think actually just baiting out those force fields is such a great idea. As we can see, none of the sentries have actually had the chance to really get out a good hallucination to look around the map. Mokomi did end up researching it, but he hasn't been able to really use it. Mokomi is only now creating that hallucination. He's going to scout around, and I don't think he's going to be too happy to see that both the third up at the top right and the gold have been taken.
Yeah, this is going to be a very big shock for Mokomi, but even during all that aggression, Mokomi was behind, but because he was ahead in pros for so long, he actually is ahead in the supply count. That's
true. I think there's going to be a very fine timing that Mokomi is going to have to try and hit if he wants to really come back into this game economically.
Oh, and Mokomi just didn't scout this top position with that hallucinated Phoenix. He actually just canceled that waypoint and decided to look somewhere else.
Uh-oh, that actually could spell a lot of disaster for Mokomi. He might feel that he's in a much better position than he actually is in.
Yeah.
Because he might feel that TropicalBob just recently got up this gold expansion, and he's going to feel pretty comfortable just sitting on his own third at the exact same time. He'll think that it's 3 base versus 3 base.
Yeah, and right now, TropicalBob is tearing down Mokomi's rocks with a few Zerglings, but this hard wall should be able to hold off all of these Lings and delay any Roach aggression that comes.
And actually, what just happened was TropicalBob has an overseer in the top right-hand corner that just ran through almost all of Mokomi's base, and he even saw the robotics base, so he knows exactly what's going on with Mokomi's tech.
Yeah, and we do have just 4 Corruptors. Yeah, 4 Corruptors are in production right now, and 2 out on the field.
And even actually 2 Infestors out on the field right now, so this is going to be a really interesting engagement.
Yeah, for when it actually starts to unfold. We have 1-1 for the Protoss army, no melee upgrades, but we have the armor upgrade, and 2 for the range for the Zerg player. So these infested Terrans are actually going to be extremely effective. And we have the scouting Stalker that sees the bulk of the army, and I think he was able to see at least one of the Infestors, but I don't know if he saw the Corruptors.
Actually, I think Mokomi's in a lot of trouble if he doesn't find some kind of timing and a way to put on some pressure, as we actually see that the Hive is done and the Greater Spire is about halfway completed. So there are actually going to be Broodlords out in combination with these Infestors and the Zergling count that he has. Mokomi could be in a serious amount of trouble, as well as actually the 5th base going up in the top left-hand corner.
Mokomi actually saw these Roaches heading towards his third with the hallucinated Phoenix, but hasn't really responded yet. At first he was moving his army out, but it still was just sitting outside of his natural.
Oh wow, and the limbo line of Mokomi's army going around that wall that's actually working against him now to try to react to the road pressure of the third. And the Roaches, I don't think they're going to be able to pick off the expansion. And, actually, they're just going to be trapped here now.
We have 8 Broodlords in production right now, probably in the bottom of the middle of the field. So all these Roaches are actually just freeing up supply for TropicalBob to make much more efficient units. Because TropicalBob didn't send any Lings or his Infestors or anything else, and he's just been getting his quote-unquote like end composition in the middle of the map. But during that entire proc, Mokomi just lost a gateway and 2 pylons, but Mokomi's max, and we're about to see the 300 versus 200 army battle very soon.
Yeah, Mokomi is moving out and he's going to try to put pressure, but that is a lot of Broodlords. We have 8 Broodlords, and Mokomi cannot be happy about this now.
Yeah, 3 Stalkers are caught with Fungal. And now we're...
Mokomi does have late research, and there he goes. He's pressing off the blue board now. The Stalkers are getting a lot of damage from these Zerglings. The Floppers are ripping them to shreds, and the Infestors have not yet really gotten inside the engagement. It looks like they don't have to, as the blue boards and the Zerglings are just too much, able to pick up almost everything.
Yeah, this is not looking good for Mokomi right now, as these Infestors have had really great fungals, and those Broodlord's extra DPS from those Broodlings has just been too much. But it looks like Mokomi is going to stabilize, at least in the short term, as more Infestors and more Corruptors are being made. And there we have it. We have the behind Protoss building the Dark Shrine.
Of course, a standard staple of every Protoss in a really rough situation, but you know, I'm not actually sure how much I like that right now. I feel as though Mokomi really needs to try and maybe go for a Void Race to deal with these Broodlords. He's going to be in a really tough spot, even with the Dark Shrine, as the really scary part about what TropicalBob's army is that he's on 5 base, he's pretty much has almost full mining at every base, and Mokomi's just kind of, actually, he's completely mined out of his main, other than the gas. He's starting to get really low in his natural. His third is pretty full, but you know, he needs to start thinking about taking that fourth. He did clear the gold base to try and take that, but you know, I feel that...
Oh, and there's actually a Zergling that's delaying the gold expansion right here.
Oh, that's such a beautiful play from TropicalBob. Really underutilized, and Mokomi is going to get pretty annoyed by that. Actually, not even bringing his observer to go pick it off yet.
I don't think he's realized it yet. Nope. His
no.
observer's just with his main army right now. Wherever it is. Yep.
Really devastating.
But these High Templars mainly being morphed into Archons, as we see just one out on the field now. And now the Dark Shrine is up, so we're going to have 4 DTs to see what they can do. Hopefully it'd be really good. Oh no, he's just going to skip these Infestors all together and hopefully do some economic damage.
Oh, TropicalBob a bit out of position. Losing all of his Brewers right underneath all the Stalkers. The Stalkers get a solid blink. They're picking up quite a few Brewlords, but I'm not sure that there are enough Stalkers right now. Oh, actually only 2 Brewlords left. Just down to 1 now, and TropicalBob with a big misstep.
Yeah, and the big thing is a lot of the Infestors weren't even used. There were only a few fungal growths that were thrown down. Did I say? Yeah, fungal growths. And no infested Terran, which I'm really surprised haven't been thrown down. I know Colossus will do a lot of damage to them, but I'm just very surprised not used.
He's going to have to be careful. I feel like he might be overcommitting a little bit with this huge influx of Zerglings. Although he does have those Colossus to try and pick off any incoming Zerglings and Infestors. We do also have a lot of Corruptors on the way, so going to be really key to see how many Broodlords are morphed, and looks like Mokomi is actually going to feel comfortable just holding off on around the center.
Oh, and one DT took out all the drones in the top expansion during all of that.
Oh my god, 20 kills on that DT. Hero DT.
Yeah. And that's what 3 attack does with those DTs, nearly just shreds everything in contact. And this gold does go down by Mokomi. So Bob Moo is now actually down 70 supply just from this little harass of the DT.
Oh,
all the Infestors!
Down by the Colossus. Oh no!
Oh, only... Yeah, just having one fungal growth get thrown down there and losing all of your Infestors from it, a huge misstep.